Stitcher, and I'm coming to you with Flosstube number 19, which is going to be a Camp Black Needle recap. So today is August, let me check my watch here because I can never remember nowadays. Tuesday, August 5th, and I got back from Camp Black Needle last night. So what I wanted to talk about today really were the cool things that happened. I have a lot of haul, a lot of stitchy kindness, and just some really cool shout outs to some of the people that I got to hang out with. So this is not going to be a normal update. So some of my other whips will be waiting until the end of the month when I go over some of the other things that I'm doing this month. But so for those of you that don't know, Camp Black Needle is an in-person retreat hosted by Katie and Laura Landis of the Black Needle Society. I got to meet them back in 2020 when they did Frogwarts Year 1 and the Black Needle Society was just getting off the ground. So fast forward to today and they do several online retreats and one in-person retreat every year. So this year's theme was murder mystery. So the cool thing is like they had a game where they had 3 people who were the secret murderers and they would go around murdering people by placing stickers on their backs, and then we had to be the detectives trying to figure out who the murderers were. And if the murderers were caught, the person that caught them won their part of the grand prize. There was one murderer who was never caught, and so she won a grand prize. So that was one of the many fun games we had. So let me start. I'm looking at what you don't see in front of me is all of my haul because that's off camera. So let's kind of start off with the swag bag because Camp Black Needle is probably, of all the retreats that I've been to, they have the best swag bag of all the retreats. So we were handed a bag that has our evidence. So it's like our evidence bag. And in there we had our name tags. We had our project. So this year, you know, the snail is Sherlock Holmes themed. And then this is the big retreat piece. And so what they do is they put it on the project bag. And inside the project bag, you get a snail pattern. So there's the Sherlock snail. You get the retreat pattern. And you also get the fabric for it. So this year's fabric is one more reproduction from Be Stitch Me. And so this year I chose a Lugana 38 count, or 32 count. And we get all the floss. So this year they put all the floss on a key. And of course, you know, mine's all kind of tangled here. So this is enough floss to do both the snail and the retreat piece. So, you know, ignore my tangles of threads here, but it is a key. It's the key to 221B Baker Street, which is where Sherlock Holmes lives. So that was the first part of the swag bag. Let me put this back in here. And then in there, we also got a book sleeve, which I use these for my tablets, but so these are some really cool, like, you know, with the fingerprints, so kind of a criminal minds type thing. We got, oh, let's see. We got a little notebook that says get a clue. So we could, you know, anything we wanted to write down, we could. We got, let's see what else is in here. We got some wet ones with a little, you'll thank me later, just to keep our hands clean. We all got a really cool magnifying glass. What else is in here? So that's, and then we also got body part pens. So, because why not? Murder mystery. And then the other cool thing is that we all got to pick our choice of a book. So I picked The Body in the Library from Agatha Christie. So this was a classic murder mystery that I've never read. So there was this book and another option of short stories that are Agatha Christie-esque, but not by Agatha Christie. So we all got our own murder mysteries. And then we also got these envelopes that said don't open until the announcements. And in those envelopes were the instructions for the game. So I ended up not accusing anybody, but that gives you the thing saying that I am a detective. It tells you how to play the game, which means this card must be on your person at all times. If you want to make an accusation, you write the person down you want to accuse and give it to a staff member. So this was, I never really played, but it was still cool that that's how we found out. So if you were a murderer, your card said you are a murderer. All right, so that was what was in the swag bag. So, and then also, we also got lots and lots of table gifts. So I sat with, let's see if I can remember everybody. Cece, Darcy, Cher, and I'm blanking on the last person's name. So, but as always, as at a retreat, people have so many freebies, so many goodies. So I'm not gonna show you everything, but one of the things that was in our swag bag was a paper evidence bag that was pretty much used to drop all of our goodies in. So some of the cool things that people from other tables dropped by were, we have these cool coasters that she made that say Kansas City on them, because that's where we were. Erica made grime guards of variety of sizes for everybody. And so this is from Erica Kolach, and so this was an 11 by 11 grime guard. So it didn't quite fit the project that I had, but I can use this for sure. So really cool red grime guard. Somebody dropped by with the F-bomb, which anybody who knows me knows that this is me. And then somebody did a keychain with a pair of travel scissors, and on the keychain it says X-Stitch Convention, Kansas City 2025, with the murder mystery theme. Some people went all out with the themes. One of the Stitchers, and I believe she was a vendor, is big into Dungeons and Dragons, so we got scissors with the however many sided dice on it as a scissor fob, which was really cool. And then my table mates gave me some cool stuff, so I got a needle minder, murder kitty. Cece, who is GGKCS Podcast Flosstube. So if you find Cece on Flosstube, that would be their channel. And they did pictures of their puppy and their kitty. So there's Pumpkin as Sherlock Bones. And then Pink, the kitty cat, as Sherlock Holmes. So that was adorable. And one person made this adorable, adorable turtle for everybody. So this is going to be a good place to stick your pins, your needles, and it just is an absolute delight. So I don't remember who made what. And then somebody brought by a little container with chocolate, because we know chocolate is great at a retreat. So I'm going to set that up there. And then another table mate came by, and we got these cups that said, like, cross stitch makes everything better. And inside there's just a variety of goodies that I haven't taken out yet, but I will be taking out and adding to my stitchy corner, which is right over there. You could tell it's mine. And then Amanda also dropped by, and she brought me this. And inside we have floss drops. We have, it says a threaded needle, so it's a needle. It's a little needle threader. That's really cool. And then we've got a skein of 310. I've got a mascara brush for getting those pesky edges out. So there's the 310. There's the mascara brush. This is another needle and a really cool looking needle minder. Look at that. So lots and lots of table goodies. And then the last one, somebody came around with needle minders and I got to pick. So in case you weren't sure, to all of my friends who are in the LGBTQ plus community, you are safe with me. So those were the table gifts. And so that was just kind of day one. As everybody, it's kind of like trick-or-treating. I'm going to kind of put all those things back in here for now, just to get them out of the way. So much. All right. So, and then as with any good retreat, there are drawings and there are games. So I won one of the games, which was a what's in your bag. So let me, kind of explain that one here. So everybody got a list that looks like this. And it had 87 items on it, and you have 10 minutes to dig around the items that you've brought with you to the retreat in the stitching room. So you couldn't run up to your room. So I, of course, have everything around me. And I ended up, oh gosh, I feel like I had like 38, 39. I didn't even get to all of them. So the ones I crossed off are the ones I knew I had. So that was always fun. So I think I ended up like 37, 38 items in 10 minutes. Not bad. So my prize was this really cool snail project bag, along with a mat and a kind of an Ort jar. I call them a portable Ort jar, and by Stitchy Missy. And so it's got snails on it, so you can see the really cute snails and the mushrooms on it. So adorable. And then inside there was a Vera Bradley tumbler. There was a piece of fabric. There was no designer name on it. All I know is this is 32 count linen called The Beach. And then there was a pattern called Be a Mystery from Forbidden Fiber Co. And it came with the flosses. And it came with this year's Nashville cookbook. And then a beautiful bird needle minder. A little camper charm. This is all from Flamingo Toes. And a luggage tag that says Precious Cargo. So that was absolutely fun to win. Absolutely fun. Another game involved these little pineapples. So this is the only one I have, but I believe they hid somewhere around the realm of like 400 to 500 of these little pineapples around the hotel. And so other guests will pick them up and gather them. But for us, we knew that they were for a game. So twice a day, they would call out, ask who had pineapples, and whoever had the most pineapples at that point got a prize. And then we turned them all in. They went and re-hid them. And so I found this one sitting on top of a thermostat, the wall thermostat. But they could be anywhere in the hotel. So they were in the elevator, the parking garage, the stairwell, the lobby, the stitching room, the bar, any place that we would go. So that was cool. And so I got to keep this little guy. So that was another game. And then, of course, no retreat would be complete without prize drawings. So on our name tags, I'm looking for my name tag here. Oh, here it is. Okay. So on our name tags, we all had these. So I was number 33. And so they would use a random number generator twice a day to call out numbers. And if your number was called, you got to come up and pick a prize. So I actually got to win 2 prizes because one was for the vendors. So the vendors did a little giveaway, and I ended up winning a giveaway from Judy Starkey from Judy's Project Bags, and I got to pick out a free thread bed. So here's what it looks like on the inside, and then I had to be, I saw dogs, I had to. And so this is neat. So if you're going someplace with your project, you just put your threads in here, fold them up, stick them in your project bag, and therefore they theoretically don't get lost or tangled. So that's really cool. And then on the last night, my number was called again for a random prize. And so the prize I picked contained a limited edition mystery thread. Oh, that's hard to see. Mystery thread pack from the Janel Arts. So I've got all of these. The only thing that they say on them are limited edition. So there's no really thread names to them other than limited edition. But these are the flosses then from the Janel Art. So I got kind of a really neat fall color palette. So I absolutely will enjoy adding these to my stash. And I got this. I don't even know which way is up on it. Here, I think this way is up. Because you can see like the dinosaurs here. This is a project bag, y'all. It looks like it could fit an extra large pizza, but it opens on the corner, and so I'm probably gonna see if my supersized Max Color piece could fit in here. But y'all, this is like the biggest project bag I have ever seen. So those were all the cool things that I won or got for free at the retreat from everybody. Let's see. So kind of going through, one of the things I did get some stitchy kindness from my friend Cece. I sat next to them and helped them with some basic tasks because with them and their service dog, sometimes things can be a little difficult to manage with the dog and stitching. So I helped out a lot. And so Cece went and she got me, they got me. Got me a sticker that said the bitches got a stitch. And because they knew that I did a lot of patriotic pieces, they found me this really cool red, white, and blue. Wow. Project bag. It's not showing up as well on camera, I know. I don't know if that's the camera or the shininess of this, but still, thank you, Cece. It was a pleasure sitting next to you as always. And then they, of course, had vendors. And I was like, no, I'm going to be so good. I'm not going to go. Yeah, right. We know how that goes. So I popped into the Black Needle Society's vendor booth, and I picked up the last 2 snails that I do not have. This first one is Carnival Master, and this was from Camp BNS in 2023 when I could not go. And then the new Doctor Who snail from the most recent Doctor Who box. So I now think I own all of the snail patterns that Katie has designed, and so I will be stitching on those and slowly getting them finished and framed, and just kind of a neat little collection to commemorate all the different retreats and all the different boxes. And then Renee of the Golden Familiars was there, and so I initially went and yeah, my wallet didn't last well because I love Renee's stuff. So I got these 2 needle minders. Got the first one. You can definitely see what it says. And then I got this one. And then Renee started selling some witchy stitcher patterns, and so I had to buy my first pattern from the Witchy Stitcher. I'll get to meet them at the Cross Stitch Society retreat later this month online. So this one says, "Leave me alone, I'm cross stitching." And then that was going to be it. And then I went up to pay. And I just saw the snippet of the fabric, and I said, "Is that the national parks?" And Renee said yes, and I'm like, just throw it on there. So this is a project folio, and it has, I know it It's got all the different national parks on there, including, you know, my home of Shenandoah. And the cool thing with these, and so inside, it's got these pockets, so like you can put Q snaps, tablets, fabric. So this is, you know, it's got a needle minder. It's got, so like literally everything you need for a project, you can just put it all in here, stick it in your bag and go. So I don't know if I'm going to use this just to hold all of my notions all the time, or if I'm going to put a specific project in this, but I couldn't pass it up because I love my national parks. So that was fun, and so thank you to all the amazing vendors who were there. I also got to hit up the freebie table, and that's, y'all, that's where it gets really dangerous. So I'm just going to kind of, I've got a nice big baggie full of freebies that I picked up. So let's just kind of see what kind of cool stuff people traded off, I mean. Now, I did take a whole bag of stuff and dumped it on the freebie table, so I traded out. So the first thing was I picked up was a lot of these hoops. So I am in the process of learning how to do the finishing via hoops. So these are going to be great because they are different colors and larger sizes for some of the projects. So I'm going to take these and see what I can do with them as far as using them to finish projects. And then maybe, or if I can use any one of these for my stitching, and the ones that I don't need will get passed on at some point. But including this little guy that is my template, because I am going to have my husband 3D print me a whole bunch of these because this is perfect for those snails. So I was glad to get a lot of hoops from there. And then I don't know why this wasn't part of the actual retreat swag, but this was a Black Needle Society project bag from a while ago. So you know me in project bags, gotta have them. And then this bag, Amanda was giving this away, and she thought of me because I wanted to go to Rebel Stitchers Sweater Weather, but I couldn't. So this is the bag from that retreat, and it holds, this is all of the goodies that I got from the freebie table. So I'm just going to kind of go through and show some. So I got things like a small project bag. I got some patterns here, so kind of look and see lots and lots of patterns because I have no willpower. So I've picked up Hello After the Rain, or After the Rain from Hello Liz Matthews. I picked up another Forbidden Fiber Co pattern, Determine Your World. It says you can determine what your world is like. I got part of the Silver Creek Sampler series, Sing a Sampler series, so Do, Re, Mi. And then I got a piece from Heartstring Samplery. It says Halfway Happy. And I think this is a Stranger Things reference, not completely positive, but I have a friend who's into Stranger Things, and I really like Heartstring Samplery stuff, so why not? And then I got the Bookshop from Flossy Fox Shop. And then I picked up another one of these Harry Potter wreaths. I now have 3 out of the 4. This is the Hufflepuff wreath. This is the Loyal wreath. So last year I was able to find the Slytherin and Ravenclaw one. So if anybody has a bead on where I can get the Gryffindor one of these, please let me know so I can complete the collection. And then somebody had a project that was partially started, so I said, well, I would be interested to finish it. It is Twisted Threads to Laugh Often. So this one came with the pattern. It came with the already started pattern. And it came with the threads. So 2 Quran water lilies. So to whoever put this in here, thank you. I definitely will add this to my rotation and see if I can get it finished for you. So stick that back in there. And then the last one I saw was, I believe it was out of this month's Cross Stitcher. No, not of this month's Cross Stitcher magazine, but an Emma Congdon piece called House Rules. I absolutely love her patterns. I haven't stitched one up yet, but every time I see one, I have to grab it. So that hopefully will be happening soon. And then I also grabbed some floss drops. Somebody had an entire baggie full of DMC satin floss and a box of regular DMC threads. Now, I grab these whenever I can because I use them on all my big projects. So those will definitely save me some money from going to Michael's. I found some crochet hooks because I planning on getting back into crocheting. And then I found another project bag. And I found some 14 counts sparkly Ada, opalescent Ada. So I'm always looking for sparklies. And then some 28 count even weave. And then some of these small like cross stitch fabrics because I actually want to work on learning how to hand dye some fabrics. So I figured these would be some good ones to practice. So it's like a 12 by 18 piece of Ada 18 count. Sure. And then somebody also had a huge piece of Be Stitch Me Artemis in there. So I feel like I made out like a bandit at the with the freebies this year. So that was always fun. Of course, I brought home way more than I took with me, as is the case. But I can't wait to get started. Oh, and I did get some needle minders. Say, quit bitching, get stitching. And a certified Potterhead. There we go. So that's all the stuff from the retreat. Now, the retreat itself, I said, was put on very well. Katie and Laura do an amazing job. The hotel, on the other hand, left a lot to be desired. And that was not Katie and Laura's fault. When they were scouting out a location and they booked it over a year ago, things were very different. And so we're just kind of frustrated that there was some things that maybe could have or should have been communicated to them, but wasn't. So we got there, and the first thing we found out was that the hotel is actually going to be closing in about a month or so, so about 45 days. This hotel is being torn down to make way for a parking garage for one of the hospitals in Kansas City. And so because of that, you can definitely tell where maintenance has, for lack of a better term, been neglected. So out of 3 elevators, one was completely out. The hot tub had caution tape all over it and wasn't working. The rooms, one of our campers, turned on the faucet, and the faucet came off in her hand. It just smelled like smoke, even though it was supposed to be a non-smoking hotel. The telephone was like, hello, 1980s. One of the handles on the cupboards was broken off. And one day, we all woke up and there was no hot water in the entire hotel. So that was fun. The other thing is because there is that construction project going on, there was a construction site. Literally, there's the hotel and the construction site are right here. And the people at the construction site started jackhammering and reported for work and started jackhammering at 6:30 every morning. And that continued all day. So that was loud, annoying. It shook the hotel, shook the stitching room, and set us all, our nerves on edge quite a lot. So that did not help. I ordered food from the hotel once, and it took me 45 minutes to get a sandwich, and it was cold. So, as I said, the hotel, there really left a lot to be desired, and so we will be contacting the hotel chain and speaking with them about the situation and seeing if there's anything that can be done for compensation. But that is not reflective on the Black Needle Society at all. When they booked the hotel a year ago, there was no construction zone. There was no indication that the hotel was going to be closing and get torn down, and things were pretty well maintained. So they liked the area, they liked the style. I mean, it was in a really cool section of Kansas City. So I mean, that was really neat. But then when we got there, and yeah, but that's where the best memories are made. So we had an amazing, amazing time out there. So just trying to think. So let me give you some of the shout outs. So where's my phone here? Because I had my phone. I wanted to write down some of the people I wanted to make sure to shout out. So the first one is my friend Janel. Of her Flosstube is Coffee, Wine, and Stitching Time. And I've known Janel for many years and never knew she had a Flosstube until we got talking about it. And so, hi Janel. Hope you like cookies. I know you like cookies. No, Janel, we got cookies from Insomnia Cookies, and somebody dared her to just eat one in one bite, and she did. I've already shouted out Cece from GGKCS Flosstube and podcast. And as always, want to shout out my friend Sarah, the Redneck Bifocal Stitcher. It was wonderful to see you, and I'm hoping that I can make it out to Stitch West in the next couple of years to hang out in your stomping grounds. As always, it was a wonderful time chatting with Laura and with Keisha, who are the pattern queens. In fact, Keisha and I got chatting, and that was the first time I think I'd really got to know Keisha and chat and found out we had a lot in common. And so that was really great to just be able to chat. Also, hello to Jordyn of Stitching Espresso, to Sarah McFarland, who is a new Flosstuber. Her Flosstube is Threads and Tails with Sarah. And then the Millennial Stitchers were also at Camp Black Needle. So big shout out to all of them. If you aren't already subscribed to them, please go give them a watch, a subscribe, a like, all the things. And I will link them down in the description below. That's it. So what did I do? So what did I stitch on? Well, I, of course, had to stitch on the snail. So I did get a start and finish on the camp snail. Where'd it go? You really, yeah. Can you see my mess now? Nobody ever said filming a Flosstube was elegant and beautiful. But I know I have it here to show you, because that's why I left it out, to show you. Hold, please. All right, found it. So, let me show you. So this is this year's camp snail. And so this it took me about 2 days to do. And he is absolutely adorable. So you've got the little Sherlock snail there with the pipe and the scarf and the hat. So that was my start and finish. And then I had another finish. I worked on this in the car ride on the way to Kansas City, and I finished it there and got to ring the bell. So this is Live Simply from a Jan Lynn kit I picked up at Joann's. Gosh, no, I couldn't tell you how long now. But this was a May 2024 start, and it was under 2,000 stitches, and so I was very, very pleased to get this off of my whip list. So those were my finishes, and so I got to go up and ring the bell and for both of those. I didn't have any new starts, and I worked on the other projects that I worked on. Technically were not at retreat. They were on the car ride to or from camp. So I'm going to include those in my next update. So that really was Camp Black Needle. I had a blast as always. So with that, if you like what you see, please like, comment, and subscribe. And until we meet again, never forget, don't ever let anybody tell you what to do. You just go ahead and stitch your own stitch. Have a great day.